Hey there, Beer to Whiskey crew. Welcome to this episode of Beer to Whiskey. On my ongoing work to spread the gospel of good taste, today I find myself in Boynton Beach, Florida. I'm at NOBO Brewing Company, and it's a brewing company that is about 2 years old. And we're going to get into a little bit about its background and talk to one of the owners. But before we get started, we would like you to do a couple of things, and number one is to like us, and you'll see down below on the screen there's a thumbs up you can click to click on like, and at the end of the video there's an opportunity to watch a couple of other videos, and there's also a round Beer to Whiskey icon. If you click on that, you'll be subscribed, and a new video comes out every Thursday at noon East Coast time. And with that said, let me introduce to you Michael Bongo Hahn, and he's my beer drinking co-conspirator on this episode.
Your barfly.
Yes, my barfly and hanger-on. I won't tell you what all I had to go through to get him here today, but it wasn't easy. And our special guest, one of the owners of NOBO, and it's Tim. Here we go. Dornblazer.
Tim Dornblazer.
All right. It's really an easy name. I just don't do names well. So, Tim, tell me a little bit about how this got started. It's you and your brother own it, correct?
It's myself and my brother. And it started almost 10 years ago while we were home brewing. We had been home brewing for a number of years, and we started to enter competitions and started to win a few competitions and kind of dial in our beer. And a couple of years into that, we hit a point that some of our beers, we were looking around at what's going on in the industry and what some of the other breweries around were producing, and felt we had something that we could add to the industry, and was a little different than everybody else was doing, and felt we should throw our hat in the ring and take the move from home brewers to commercial brewers. And that was about a 4-year process from the day we started that to the day we opened the doors here at NOBO Brewing.
And it's really an easy place to get to. It's right off Gateway Boulevard 995. It's if you live in the South Florida area, it's easy to get to and to find.
We're in the Boynton Brewery District. It's an area right off 95 that has 3 breweries in it, all within walking distance.
Yeah, and a couple of the breweries are really good ones. Tell me a little bit about the name. What's NOBO? Where's that come from?
NOBO came from we were trying to come up with a name of what kind of described us, and we knew we were going to be a little bit bigger than a nano, but smaller than a lot of the other micros that are in the area. We're only about 1,600 square feet with a 5-barrel brew system, and so again, bigger than a nano, smaller than some of the other micros. So we felt we were in between, and so we coined a term. We were calling ourselves a neighborhood brewery. And so at the time, everybody was trying to come up with a name for this Boynton Brewing District, and the name that started to come out was NOBO. Called the North Boynton area, NOBO area of Boynton. And since we were a neighborhood brewery, we felt we'd grab the name of the neighborhood.
Are you? What are you? How many barrels are you guys producing a year? How many?
Right now, we're probably on track to produce about 750 barrels this year.
And does any of that stuff end up anywhere else?
It probably 2/3 of that will end up out in distribution out to bars and restaurants, but a third to half, somewhere in that range, will solely be sold here in the town.
How do you divvy up what goes on here between your brother and you?
We talk multiple times a day, so we share responsibility on pretty much everything that goes on. He handles all the recipe creation, and I'm probably more of the grunt work. And something breaks, I fix it. Something needs to be done around here. That's kind of what I handle. He does a lot of the back of house, both electronic stuff and coming up with recipes and all that for our brews.
You said that you guys kind of got started into this. It was a offshoot of your home brewing. So you brewed as well, both
Yes.
you guys.
Both of us did.
So did any of those recipes that you guys did as home brewers, did any of those
Yes,
transfer
all of,
over here?
a number of those have translated. Right now, we're having our French vanilla coffee porter, and that was an original homebrew recipe for us that we've adapted into a commercial size brew. Along with we have our Boynton Blonde that was a homebrew as well, and our old school Hefeweizen. So a lot of our beers and even one that's really unique, a basil IPA that we have that was all homebrew recipes that we've adapted and brought forward into the commercial.
What are your regular beers? If I walked in here, it doesn't matter what day of the week, what month of the year, what.
Sure. Our regular beers are our Boynton Blonde, which is a honey blonde ale, a jalapeno blonde ale, jalapeno honey blonde ale, then our French vanilla coffee porter, our basil IPA, and our old school Hefeweizen. That is our core list.
And just give me 2 or 3 of the more popular seasonals that people really look
Sure.
forward to.
We have our winter ale called Checking It Twice. That's very popular. Our loaded pumpkin that comes out before Thanksgiving is a real popular one. Also, we do a watermelon beer for summer release, and that one sells very quickly.
And do you have any plans to expand this particular store? Or any
At
other
this location,
expansion?
unless one of our neighbors move, unfortunately, we're kind of locked into our space here right now, so we have no plans right now to expand this facility. So we'll stay this size here.
Are there any other growth plans that you want to share?
There are plans. There are plans to expand into another location, but there's
You don't want to tell us where that is yet?
I can't. I'm not willing to at this point.
It'd just be between us girls, really.
Nobody's going to see this. Don't worry about it.
Is one of your goals with the next store to have a bigger brewery floor, be able to produce more?
It is. To be able to produce a larger volume, get more out in distribution, we'd love to add a canning line. We just don't have the space here to do a bunch of canning and bottling, so we'd look for a bigger space to be able to do that. We're not looking for a large production facility, so it won't be anything in the 25, 30, 40, 50,000 square foot range. We're going to stay more retail centric but just grow from the size we currently have.
I suspect that you guys must have some sort of a food truck program.
We do. Usually Friday and Saturday nights, we have a food truck. Random other nights during the week, depending on what we have going on.
We've got one of your cans sitting on the table. I don't know what.
Crowler.
Yeah.
It's a crowler.
Crowler. So obviously people can come in, bring in regular growlers or.
Correct. Yeah, and we'll fill anybody's growler. It doesn't have to be ours. I don't care what the name on the growler is. I just care about the beer that we're putting inside of it. So we'll fill anybody's growler, and we always have the growlers to go. So.
What does a typical Tim week look like? How many? Is this the only thing you do, or do you have something else on the
No,
side?
I still work a full-time job. So
doing in what?
Commercial construction. I'm a commercial general contractor in the state of Florida, so out actually building restaurants and other breweries and things like that. So this gets intermixed during the day with meeting distributors and receiving orders and sending orders out. And the week varies depending on what's going on with the beer. It just depends how much we've gone through, how many batches are in the tank, and what needs to happen with it that week. So some weeks are way busier than other weeks, just depending on how quickly the beer is fermenting and how quickly it's looking to get out the door.
So do you ever look at yourself and go, what in the heck am I doing?
All the time. All the time, but I think I would love nothing more than to make brewing full time. Because I got to tell you, there's nothing bad in a day of beer.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, I would have to agree.
I would like to test that theory, actually.
Yeah.
And your brother Steve, does he have a
Yes,
job
he does.
as well?
Yes, he does.
What's-
He's works in the IT industry.
Okay. All right.
Well, this is fantastic, this porter that you've got.
Yeah, we're drinking our French vanilla coffee porter. We make it with with fresh Madagascar vanilla beans and fresh roasted coffee. We actually use a local coffee roaster, Personality Coffee Roasters, that's based here out of Boynton Beach, and they roast the beans to kind of match the beer that we're brewing. So, you know.
You guys, excuse me, you guys are okay. Come on in. It's all right, yeah. Unless you're, you know, on America's Most Wanted or something.
Witness protection.
Yeah, unbeknownst to me, this place opened an hour ago, and there have been people standing around outside waiting to get in. So it could get a little crazy in here. So when you guys first started making this beer as home brewers, where did you get your coffee from the same place?
No, at the time we actually went and tried to find commercial off-the-shelf Publix, any grocery store, and we played around with a lot of different coffees at the time, and we hit a point that my brother was becoming more and more into coffee, just as he was into beer,
right?
And felt he wasn't finding a roast that he liked, so he started doing small batch roasting as a home brewer, and we originally adapted that to make more, and we're still roasting our own beans here initially, but we just hit a point we can't keep up with our own roasting, so we've gone to a local coffee roaster. We try to keep everything local, as many ingredients and as many local businesses that we can work with. We're all about what we can do here, since going with the neighborhood theme.
Do you do any projects with other brewers?
We haven't to date. There's a number of other breweries that we're kind of always talking to and going back and forth on ideas, and it just hasn't worked out yet as to tank time or where they have the tank space or we have the tank space to work it out.
And is that a thing? I mean, if you had, let's say you had something that you developed that was spectacular, but you know that you don't have the capacity to push that amount of beer because you know it's going to be a hot seller.
Sure. And
would you approach one of your neighbors?
Yeah, we would, and there are some conversations about some of the other guys potentially some of our more popular beers being able to brew it and can it for us. That we go there, we brew it there, and then they can it for us at their facility. But it's going to be a lengthy conversation.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, sure.
That we need to then alter our recipes, make sure that they're adapted for their system. So that may take us a little while.
Are you doing any barrel aging?
We are. We do have a barrel program.
This might be a good one.
Yeah, and we have done that one before. We don't have any of that coming out right now, but we do quite a few different barrels. Even though we do have a small space, we've got an Imperial Hefeweizen right now that is actually aging in black coral rum, spiced rum barrels. They took their spiced rum, aged it for a year in a barrel, and were kind enough to share a couple of those barrels with us when they were done. And we've put an Imperial Hefeweizen in there that will come out soon. We've also got one of the next beers that we're going to be drinking is our Imperial Jalapeno with agave. It's a 10% blonde beer that we've aged in a tequila barrel. So we've got a number of different beers coming out. And we also talk to a lot of the small craft distillers that might use something smaller than a 53-gallon barrel. And we get a lot of 15, 20, and 20-gallon barrels from them that can age much faster. So we do rotate through some of those pretty frequently.
Holy cow, that's amazing.
That
is the tastiest beer I've ever had in my...
It is, and I've got to tell you, Tim, because it's got jalapeno in the name, I would have never ordered this.
Right. You immediately think it's going to be spicy.
I might have tasted it, and which then would have sold me on it, but this is...
That's amazing.
This is real.
And it's just the jalapeno in it is just way underneath everything else. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is really subtle.
It's an offshoot. We like to do a lot of big beer here. We like to do a lot of doubles, imperials. We've got a triple IPA coming out. We always love to play above the 10% ABV mark. And our jalapeno honey blonde is probably it's our best-selling beer. And in our typical fashion, we felt, how do we make that beer bigger? And And so we replaced the honey with agave and boosted it up to over 10%.
That's beautiful.
It does have, you got a little more of the jalapeno on the finish. There's a little something that
Right.
the rest
But
of
it's
the
just
back
a
of
little
the
way underneath
but
everything
it-
else.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
that's not the first taste that you get
No,
out of that.
no.
It's fantastic.
We worked fairly diligently on both our jalapeno blonde and with this to ensure that you don't get much spice on any of it, because I know a lot of people are a little afraid of a spicy beer, and
You guys
get
hit
just
the target.
enough.
You
Yeah,
guys
it's
hit
just
the
enough.
target
That's
on this.
phenomenal. I would eat dinner with that.
And this is, what's the percent?
10%.
10%? It doesn't drink like a 10%
And,
either.
and thank you for keeping it subtle, because so you two are the experts, I'm the layman. Like when I go into a place and I'm gonna try a new beer for the first time, I'm terrified that, because it has some flavor in the name, they've taken something and said, it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. That seems to be the thing,
They beat you over the head with it.
But just IPAs in the last 5 years, you get to a point where I don't even want to taste an IPA anymore, because I'm afraid it's got a 200 hop count in it, and it's like it makes you crazy that here's something that should be palatable and should be delicious to drink, and they've absolutely ruined it by trying to take it to the next level and take it to the next level.
And the only thing you taste the rest of the night is bitter.
Yeah,
That's it. The palate's wrecked.
And I think to myself, who drinks this? I mean, I would drink one of whatever that was and go, okay, like a blueberry beer or something that's just over the top with flavor. That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. It's elegant. It's. Thank you.
Certainly, and like I said, soon we'll have a tequila barrel-aged version coming out that
I couldn't possibly drink that,
Yeah.
I don't think.
I think you can muscle through, buddy.
Yeah, we'll have a bottle release of that coming out in about a month or so.
Couple of tacos. We'll wait for a taco truck to roll up.
Yep.
Boom. We're
Exactly.
gonna get you through that.
Yep.
Well, I know I'll be back in May.
Or I'll be taking pictures of it before that.
And so this, what's the ABV here?
6.5% on the
Okay.
French vanilla coffee porter.
Okay. And you guys have a right now have a peanut butter
A
beer.
peanut butter imperial milk stout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that comes in about 9%.
Yeah,
So,
that's pretty darn
Yep.
good too.
Thank you.
So let's go back to when you and your brother were still home brewing.
Sure.
How did you get started? I mean, somebody has to start you off. You either have to buy a kit from the store.
Sure. It started off.
How old are you guys when you first started?
Let me see. I had to be. I'm 41 now, so 26.
Okay. And your brother's a little younger than you.
27. Yep. So he was, so maybe I was 28. So maybe a little bit older than that, and would have put him about, 25, somewhere in that range.
And you got a birthday gift?
And
or-
how it all started out when we got into craft beer is we had a group of friends, and every weekend we'd all get together, everybody bring a different six-pack. And we'd all sit down and just share and try the different craft beers and all that, and go from there. And my brother at one point said, I've heard home brewing, I think I want to give it a shot and try making my own craft beer. And so my parents actually went and got him a homebrew kit for Christmas.
like a $50 mail
Yeah,
order?
a little bit more than that.
Okay,
But yeah,
okay.
but some, $100, $125 homebrew kit or something for Christmas
Right.
that I think my parents at the time looked at and went, I'm not really sure this is okay for me as a parent to be buying
Right.
my kid an ability to make alcohol.
What's the influence?
Yeah, exactly. And they look back now and are shocked at where that one homebrew kit has gone from and where it's at now.
You never, and that's why I try to explain to my wife. Look, listen, let's expose our daughter to as many different things as possible. You never know when you're going to hit on something like you guys did. And so, your parents are your parents beer drinkers or not?
They have become beer drinkers. Let's put it that way.
They didn't start off.
So
that way.
they did not start off that way.
But
They
they're
were your Miller Lite, Coors Light, those kind of beers, and over
We all
the
have to
years,
start someplace.
yeah, they've definitely adapted their palate as we've gone. So
That's fantastic.
yeah.
So what was the first beer that you guys?
I don't remember the exact first beer, but I know the first one that when we all got together, like a couple weeks later, he brought a keg of actually a coffee porter, the early version of what we're actually drinking, and all of us sitting there were going, oh no, this is not going to be good. This is like his second batch.
Yeah.
And he brought it. We all sampled it, and I remember we all went back and went, oh, actually not bad.
It's not too bad,
It's
right?
not too bad. I can drink that. That's better than some of that's as good as some of the
Sure.
you know
Right,
some of the
or
stuff.
better than stuff that you guys were pulling off the
they
street.
were pulling
Yeah.
off the street 15 years ago. So you know, it went from there, and myself and two other friends were like, you know, this seems like a fun thing. Why don't we jump in it with you? So then there were four of us that almost every weekend for years got together and brewed, you know, anywhere from 2 to 3 batches a weekend for years, and just grew it from there.
So are any of those old friends still showing up here?
They are.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. We all still stay in touch, and they still come around, and
That's great.
and all that. Yep.
That's fantastic. So, all right, so how many beers can you have going at once here?
We can be fermenting up to 7 different beers at one time. We have 7 fermenters, 5 5-barrel, and 2 15s.
Okay.
But on tap, we usually range anywhere from 17 to 22 different beers on tap.
Right, so you've got a selection back there that you can pull, just tap in and change the handle and
Correct.
go. Excellent.
Yep.
And I guess my other question, so because you're able to have, at your small facility, you guys are able to change beers fairly quickly between what you're able to do with 7 going at one time. How do you pick what's going to be your next flavor combination that you're going to put together when you do a seasonal? I mean, I know you got your regulars that you're
we've got our
running all the time.
seasonals, and a lot of it is just a couple of us sitting around, you know, just like this, you know, having a couple of beers, going, hey, you know, what if we do this? What do you think of this idea? And the initial idea may not be what we end up brewing, but probably an offshoot of that, and go, well, maybe let's tweak it like this and let's tweak it like that, and it ends up being being the next thing that comes out. You know, we found fruited Hefeweizens have become popular, and so now we just rotated through a blackberry vanilla Hefeweizen that seems to be hugely popular.
I've heard about it.
And so a lot of it is just looking at it and going, what do we have, and what can we play with?
And have you done any tropical fruit stuff? Have you tapped into the Florida carambola, the star fruit, the pineapples,
We've definitely done pineapples and coconuts.
Okay.
We've done a lot with pineapple and coconut, and those, especially summer, I believe we released a pineapple and coconut wheat beer called Island Paradise that tastes just like, you know, right along the lines of pina colada. So yeah, we play in those in some of the local ingredients and all that when we can.
I noticed you've got a Sierra Nevada handle.
Yes.
What's that about?
Well, the Sierra Nevada released when there were the wildfires out there, the campfire, the most destructive fire in California's history. Sierra Nevada stepped up to the plate and said, we want to help everybody affected by the campfire. So they reached out to the brewing industry and told all of us, hey, we have a beer that we want to release called Resilience, and all the proceeds are going to go to help the victims of the campfire. And they pushed it out to, opened it up to any of the breweries in the U.S. that wanted to participate. Sierra Nevada would give us the recipe, they'd give us the ingredients to brew it. The only thing we had to give back was all the proceeds that we make off the beer, we have to donate back. So I believe that at last check there are 1,500 of us across the country that have joined, and so we happily brewed Resilience, and all the proceeds that we make off that beer will all be donated back to the victims of the campfire. We've looked at it as it's just a matter of time before Florida gets hit by another hurricane, and I hope the rest of the country is kind enough to step in and help all of us when we go through that. So
Right.
you know, we feel
You hope that it comes back around.
that's exactly it. So you know, we're happy to do it, happy to help.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's I've heard of that program. I figured that's probably what you guys were doing.
Yes. Yeah, we were one of the first Florida breweries, I think, to sign on. They announced it, and I think on day 2 we signed up for it. So you know, we firmly believe in giving back, whether it's national or whether it's local.
That's great. Come on in. We'll share.
Fantastic.
Just an interview.
So is there a beer that you guys have not done that you and your brother have sat around and dreamed about doing and just haven't done it yet? Is there something that, some aspirational?
There's a number of them, but we slowly end up brewing them. Like we wanted to do a barley wine for a long time. Well, we did a barley wine. We haven't released it yet, but we did a black barley wine that we hope will come out here shortly. I think we've talked about doing a goza. Some of the sour beers and gozas are becoming more popular.
Love you.
And we've talked about doing a goza, and since a lot of the beers we make are imperial and high ABV, we felt what better than if we're going to jump into doing a goza. Nobody's ever heard of it, but let's do an imperial goza. Let's
Why the heck not?
most gozas are around 3.5, 4%. So let's do a goza that's like 8%. Let's take it to the next level and see what we can do with it.
Right.
So that's one of the things that has been on our list for probably a year now, and we haven't gotten around to being able to brew it yet.
Anything else you can think of?
I'm ready to drink, man. I've been sipping at my stuff, but I'm ready to hammer these down.
Well, I'm with you. Well, on that note, Tim, thanks for the invite.
Thank you. Thanks for the conversation.
It's been fun.
It's been great.
The beer is wonderful. I get in here. This is probably my 4th time in here, and so I get to drink some of the beers, and I haven't found anything yet that I didn't like.
It's my first time. I don't get out much. But
Yeah, he's our wallflower. But with that, guys,
Cheers.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
text Miss Lily, and see you next time.
Really.